For the last decade, disruption has been building, driven by the failures of the multilateral system, escalating geopolitical conflicts, and worsening climate conditions. With the dawn of 2025 and the inauguration of Trump's second presidency, the pace of disruption has accelerated dramatically. Within hours, his decisions shook the foundations of global health, trade, climate cooperation, and security, especially in the Middle East. The ripple effects are global. Financial markets in turmoil, protectionism on the rise, and growth forecasts nearly impossible. From Europe to Asia, Africa to the Americas, no region is spared. The world risks sliding back into a mercantilist mindset, with nations turning inward to shield themselves. That's why this year in Cairo Forum 2, we have two main objectives. First, to confront today's existential challenges, such as the unraveling of the multilateral system and the emerging roles of BRICS and the G20, the US-China rivalry and its impact on the world, Middle East turmoil and its economic fallout, the climate-energy-poverty nexus, and the race of artificial intelligence, reshaping our lives faster than policy can adapt. Our second objective is to capture a snapshot of the world economy under nearly a year of Trump's America First policy, examining its impact on every region. Since Egypt is at the heart of Africa, a continent which has faced monumental hardships and challenges, and yet holds immense promise. Last but not least, since we at ECES believe that youth are not just the future, but rather the leaders of today, Gen Z's opinion on all of the above issues will be heard. Join us today in the second Cairo Forum on the 3rd and 4th of November 2025. Welcome back to Cairo.
Good morning all. I'm very glad to welcome you all on the second year of the Cairo Forum. We have conducted this session last year in October, and we have the idea of the concept note last January. At that time, it was at the beginning of many things that were changing, and we were not sure until we reached November what things would look like. But it turned out that never a dull moment is in the world. Things are moving until today, and now we are in the heart of the events. And we are coming during a very good time, along with the inauguration of the big Grand Egyptian Museum. I would like to thank all the speakers on the podium, Mr. Omar, Mohanna, the chairman of ECES, Dr. Thomas Volk, the head of the Middle East and North Africa Department, Konrad-Adenauer, and Lieutenant General Kamel Wazir, Egyptian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport and Industry. I'm very glad to have Mr. Kamel Wazir with us today. And I will give the word to Mr. Omar Mohanna, the chairman. Please take the floor, sir.
Thank you, Abla. Good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this year's Cairo Forum. We are truly honored by the presence of so many eminent thinkers, policymakers, and business leaders who have gathered here in Cairo to reflect on the defining disruptions of our time and the opportunities that lie ahead. I would like to extend a special welcome to His Excellency Lieutenant General Kamel Wazir, the Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development and Minister of Industry and Transportation, who is honoring us here with his presence. The theme of this year's forum, More Global Disruption in 2025, What's Happening and What's Next. It could not be more timely or indeed more sobering. We are living through an era in which uncertainty has become the norm, a time when the very foundations of the multilateral system are being tested, when geopolitical rivalries are fragmenting cooperation, and when the social contract in many societies is undergoing strain. The acceleration and simultaneity of change that we are witnessing today are unlike anything we have experienced before. From financial volatility and climate stress to the energy transition, digital transformation, and the rapid rise of artificial intelligence, every aspect of our economic and political life is being reshaped in real time. At ECES, we view this convergence of crises not only as a challenge, but as a call to reimagine global governance and to rethink the evolving role of emerging economies, particularly those of the Global South. Egypt, situated at the crossroads of continents and civilizations, has a unique vantage point from which to reflect on these global shifts and to help bridge divides between North and South, East and West. Over the next 2 days, we'll explore the future of the global economic order, the implications of the US-China rivalry, the turmoil in our region and its economic consequences, the shrinking resources of development finance, and the urgent need to realign global cooperation toward more inclusive and sustainable growth. We'll also discuss transformative and at times disruptive power of artificial intelligence and other emerging digital technologies, and what responsible adoption of technologies truly means. Importantly, this forum also brings forward the perspective of the new generation, whose voices, as highlighted in our concept notes, are woven into several of our discussions. At ECES, we firmly believe that youth are not merely the leaders of tomorrow, but the leaders of today, and that their active engagement is essential in shaping a more resilient, equitable, and forward-looking world. Through this dialogue, we aim not only to analyze what is happening, but to imagine what should happen next. Our hope is that the Cairo Forum will serve as a platform for reflection, collaboration, and actionable policy thinking, a place where ideas lead to concrete outcomes and translate into lasting impact. Let me take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation to Dr. Abla, Abdel Latif, and the entire ECES team for their outstanding effort in preparing for this forum, to our valued sponsors for their continued support, and to all our distinguished speakers and moderators for sharing their expertise and insights. Ladies and gentlemen, the road ahead may indeed be turbulent, but it is also filled with opportunity. If we can learn to navigate disruption and wisdom, cooperation and courage, we may yet turn this era of upheaval into one of renewal. I'd like to thank you and wish you all a productive, enjoyable, and thought-provoking forum. Thank you.
Dr. Thomas Volk, please.
Your Excellency, Deputy Prime Minister Wazir, Mr. Mohanna, Chairman of the ECES, and dear Dr. Abla Abdel Latif, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Konrad-Adenauer-Stiftung, I would like to welcome you to the second Cairo Economic Forum, a high-level meeting between representatives from politics, business, and academia, which we at the Konrad-Adenauer Foundation have supported since its inception. The Konrad-Adenauer Foundation is a German political foundation that is closely associated with the ruling CDU party of Chancellor Friedrich Merz and is represented in almost 100 countries worldwide. In all the countries where we operate, we consistently advocate economic policy convictions and recognize the importance of job creation for the younger generation and economic growth for the stability of countries. We have had an office in Egypt again since 2024, and here too, with our country director, Mr. Krüger, in the most populous country in the Arab world, we are committed above all to economic projects in addition to good German-Egyptian dialogue. The Egyptian Council for Economic Studies has been a key partner for our work here on the ground since the beginning. And I would therefore like to start by thanking ECES for its excellent collaboration and trusting cooperation. Participation in this important conference is significant for the Konrad-Adenauer-Stiftung, not least because economic relations between Germany and Egypt are among the most important bilateral partnerships between an EU member state and a North African country. Egypt is Germany's most important trading partner in North Africa and a key player in regional energy, transport, and industrial policy. Germany is one of Egypt's 5 largest trading partners worldwide. Energy and hydrogen, as well as infrastructure and transport, are particularly important sectors of bilateral economic cooperation. Cooperation could certainly be further intensified in all areas, especially in the energy sector, where Egypt is a key country in the Eastern Mediterranean region and thus a strategic partner for the EU. On October 16th, the EU Commission therefore published its new Pact for the Mediterranean, which, 30 years after the start of the Barcelona process and the establishment of a Euro-Mediterranean neighborhood policy, aims to promote even closer economic cooperation. The pact aims to stronger, more sustainable and integrated economies. This includes actions related to the modernization of trade and investment relations, boosting energy and clean technologies, water resilience, blue economy and agriculture, digital and transport connectivity, as well as job creation. In this context, a trans-Mediterranean renewable energy and clean tech initiative, TMED, and Startup for Med will be among flagship projects of this pillar. Partners will also work on integration of supply chains, including in the health and agriculture sectors, as well as on critical raw materials. An efficient, secure, and trusted interconnection of digital infrastructures will bring economies and citizens closer, while a more sustainable and regenerative blue economy of the Mediterranean basin will be fostered. We will do our part as Konrad-Adenauer Foundation to follow up on these initiatives while connecting Egyptian and German stakeholders on all levels. This conference, therefore, comes at just the right time. In an era of global shifts in power, new regional dynamics in the MENA region, and shortly after the EU published a new strategy for cooperation. I look forward to the discussions over the coming days and the important outcomes of this conference. I would like to thank again ECES and all partners for their excellent cooperation and wish this conference every success. Thank you very much.
Now we have the word of Lieutenant General Kamel Al-Wazir, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport and Industry. He had honored us with his presence last year and this year also, and usually we wish you to be with us in our forums, and thank you very much. It's my honor to share for the second year in this forum, and hopefully I will share with you the third and fourth time, and I wish all you a fruitful conference. In the name of God, ladies and gentlemen, august gathering, experts, think tanks, and representatives of international institutions, august gathering. I'm very glad to be here with you today for the second time at the second Cairo Forum, which is a very important platform that includes think tanks and experts to discuss the most contemporary issues of our era on how to face a world that is changing in an unprecedented manner. And our meeting today has a special significance as we discuss the different supply chains and reforming the pathways of trade between the East and the West, and the pivotal role of Egypt in this changing world order at the time where are very quick geopolitical changes which redesign the world map. And these topics are not far from our reality today, but it comes in the core of the world scene where we are all witnessing, where there are many crises, more than the solutions, and there are many economic, political, and environmental files that are interacting together in a complicated scene that is not bound by rules of the past. And maybe convening this forum here in Cairo at this significant time has a very important significance regarding the importance of dialogue, and that facing the international challenges is not through isolation, but it is through common thinking and exchange of experience between the countries and the institutions. And based on this, I'm very glad to convey to you the greetings of His Excellency President Abdel el-Sisi, the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, and his wishings for the success of this conference, which reflects the intention of Egypt to be active in redrafting a more stable scene for all the world. Also, I would like to thank you all and give my appreciation and thanks to the Economic Forum and under the chairmanship of Dr. Abdel Latif for convening and organizing this important Cairo Forum to discuss the issues of the international issues with an independent outlook, and for its pioneering role in the active partnership for tackling the different international issues as well as enriching dialogue regarding the future of industry and the whole world, which enhances the economic development and dialogue worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently experiencing a lot of disruptions in the world, not only in its political meaning, but with its comprehensive meanings. Disruption in the trade and the energy, the technology, the supply chains, and even in the concept of development itself. And the year 2025 has proved that the challenges have become of an international character that don't differ between an advanced economy or a developing economy, and that the future will not be for the country that has the resources, but for the countries which have flexibility and resilience. And in the midst of this scene, Egypt has chosen to face this disruption through communication and also through production and through work, and to make the development as a means of stability and security, not for competition and conflicts. The day before yesterday, there was a very significant event in the whole world, which was represented in the official inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum, the biggest artifact museum and one of the most significant cultural achievements in this century. This project was not only an achievement of engineering, but a message from Egypt to the whole world that the old nations are not measured only by its wealth, but through its ability to link between its past and its future. So the Grand Egyptian Museum is not just stones, but it is the symbol of Egypt and its confidence. So, and to have a new era among the disruption that is taking place in the whole world. And based on this, the Egyptian country has, during the last years, established a comprehensive project to redraft its infrastructure and its economic infrastructure. The government has placed a clear strategic objective to transform Egypt into an international logistical center and build also a base that will satisfy the needs of the local market and to export the surplus worldwide. And this is also based on sustainability and competitiveness. And this also targets increasing the contribution of the industry in the GDP from 14% to 20% by 2030 and increasing job opportunities in the industry sector from 3.5 to 7 million opportunities, in addition to distributing the green industries, which constitute 5% of the GDP. And to bring about these objectives, Egypt has planned a comprehensive plan. The most important aspects of this plan is deepening the local component and reoperating the factories that have stopped working, as well as training and qualifying the labor in a way that copes with the requirements of the fourth industrial revolution. Also, the Egyptian country has established 28 promising industries as a locomotive for development, on top of which come the pharmaceutical and petrochemical and electronic industries and e-vehicles, as well as spinning and weaving industries, which makes Egypt a production base that is capable of competitiveness worldwide. I will stop here for a moment and say that we usually say we want to develop industry, but in order to develop industry quickly, we need to have an urgent plan that includes some specific aspects that are documented, and these are specified through dates and people in charge of it. Then we come to specify the industries that we can establish and have quick revenues, and we call these promising industries. These promising industries from our viewpoint at the Ministry of Industry, because I talked with investors and businessmen and think tanks, and this is the objective of what I'm saying. A promising industry means that it has a big market in the country. We need this. For any industry to succeed, it needs to have a big market, and it needs raw materials to be available by 80% or 90%, and to be labor intensive also. We want to make people work. The fourth thing, it is prepared that it would not be an energy intensive. The last thing and most important thing, we should have a technology for production and to have experience in this technology. We have identified 28 promising industries, like the textiles, number one, because the textiles use a lot of labor and don't use a lot of energy, and it has primary raw materials like cotton and polyester. And the Egyptian market needs this, and we have a big market for this worldwide. So this is well studied and not something random. So it is something planned and documented with dates and persons in charge. And at the same time, the country was going towards also developing transport as a main goal for the development. And in less than 10 years, we have implemented many projects that included, since it were planned in 2019, its value is of 2 trillion pounds. Maybe now it may be 2.5 or 3 trillion pounds because of the currency exchange. And this included more than 19,000 kilometers of the main roads and established new roads on the River Nile, and also updating the railways, and also of course, there is a lot of maintenance for the railways and these areas, but with percentages not very high in a way that copes the big distances of railways and the big number of locomotives and trains. In order to also extend the modern networks of the electricity, and to having also trade logistical pathways that link the production centers with the ports, and which helps to transfer Egypt into a regional center for trade. We also have the monorail, and because of this, engineer Osama Bshai is inviting you on the 9th of November at the exhibition center in Al-Manara at Al-Mushir Al-Tantawi pathway for the inauguration of the monorail, and to start the piloting of the new monorail that is being executed by Siemens and the Arab contractors. Thank you, Dr. Osama. Thank you, Engineer Osama. Thank you very much for your invitation. Of course, we have to tell him that the train should come out of the workshop and not from the station. And in line of the instructions of President Abdel to transfer Egypt into logistical center, the Ministry of Transport has executed 7 logistical roads in order to link the production centers. And this is the first time that we announce, in order to appreciate all the think tanks and the people here, it is the first time that we announce that we will inaugurate the monorail on the 9th of November. And we will start a pilot study for the fast train, which will be a big leap for the economy of Egypt. And also through this development and having integrated ports. This also include Al Arish Taba and Al Sukhna Alexandria, Safaga Kena Abu Tartur, Cairo Alexandria, Tanta Al Mansura Damietta, Garbu Asaloum, Cairo Aswan Abu Simbel. And as Egypt is trying to enhance its position for this linking of the different logistical roads with the region roads as well as the international roads, on top of which comes the economic pathway INEC, which also can be finished, the 3 railways like Taba Al Arish, Al Sukhna Alexandria, Safaga Kena Alexandria, so that Egypt would be a pivotal part of this trade economic world pathway. Here I want to quote the French President Macron when he was here visiting Egypt, and he said, we were thinking before coming here and before seeing the network of bridges and ports in Egypt, we were thinking how to link Egypt with the islet. We were thinking how to link Egypt with the islet. Today, we are saying that Egypt should be part of the islet. This is the words of French President Macron. Egypt joining of this pathway opens new horizons for economic integration from the southeast to the northwest, linking between Asia and Europe, and also enhancing the role of Suez Canal as the shortest trade road and as a pathway for cooperation. This comprehensive vision in industry and transport, energy and infrastructure, and digital transformation was not isolation from the different world disruptions, but it was a practical reply to this. While many countries have rethought about its economic situation after many crises, Egypt has chosen the balance policy to have a strong local production and have diverse strategies of partnerships with the different countries. And during the last 2 years, there were many initiatives by the government that have a value of more than 72 billion pounds, and it has succeeded to operate more than 1,000 factories again. And also it contributes with more than 10% in the trade. These are not only figures, but these are testimonies that the stable economy is the main weapon to face disruption. Ladies and gentlemen, Egypt is believing that development is not only a national affair, but it's also a world issue. The crises are not taking place in one place and are not solved in one place. From here, Egypt is calling for an economic system that is more balanced, that transfers technology and not monopolize it, and also to have strategic cooperations of economy, because the world now needs to be integrated and not to compete. And all the capabilities of the countries need to integrate together, because the real power is based when all the economies come together and not weaken one another. And in the core of Africa, Egypt is working on developing economy through the free trade pathway, making use of its location as a main portal, and as it is the link that between the south and west of the continent. And so Egypt is usually the center for the trade towards the whole world. Also, through the foreign policy of Egypt, it is affirming the trade diplomacy and the different cooperation aspects of investment and infrastructure, as well as energy and technology, as a means to bring about peace and development, and not only as a mutual interest. So the development is the philosophy of Egypt, not only as projects, but building for the human being and enhancing the work and cooperation between the whole world. Again, I would like to welcome you all here in Cairo, Egypt, which has built the pyramids and the Grand Egyptian Museum, still believes that building is the best reply against disruption and the language of peace in a world that is searching for peace. And Egypt is insisting today to be a hope bridge between the East and the West, and between the future and the past. And thank you very much, and wish you a fruitful conference.
بعتذر على الإطالة معلش.